Bhadram Karneभिः Shrunuyama Devaः Bhadram Pashyemakshabhiryajatraः Sthirairange Istushtuagum Sasvanubhiः Yashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vruddhashravah Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedah Swasti nastarksho arishtanemihi Swasti no Brahaspatir dadhatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We started yesterday our study of Vaitatya Prakarana. In my introduction, I did mention few things which I would like to mention today. We studied the first section of this Upanishad with the mantra portion and a commentary given on the mantra portion as karikas of great Rishi Muni Swami Gaudapadacharya ji. And in these 12 mantras, the definition, if you would like to call it, of Atma, of absolute truth, of Brahman, is given in very precise language in the 7th mantra. The 7th mantra declares Nanta Prajnam Na Bahish Prajnam No Bhayata Prajnam Na Prajnana Ghanam Na Prajnam Na Prajnam Adrushtam Avyavaharyam Agrahyam Alakshanam Prapanchopashamam Shantam Shivam Advaitam Chaturtham Manyante Sa Atma Sa Vigneyah. You please come to know Savigneyah, that is to be known. Sa Atma, this is Atma. And all this definition is given. I am not going to go into it. You can read mantra number 7. But Gaudapadacharya ji felt that it was his duty in his own contemplation to assert few things from this mantra, and he takes the liberty of the 2nd chapter called Vaitatya Prakarana. He takes one particular thing from this mantra. It is called Prapanchopashamam, that there is complete cessation of this duality. And that is what is described in the 2nd chapter. Vaitatya, the illusory nature of this world, especially he starts with the illusory nature of the dream state, and he extends that to the waking state. He does this because he wants to write a commentary on Prapanchopasham. The rest of it we've seen in detail is somewhat easy to follow after the explanation given. But how can there be complete cessation of duality when I experience it in my waking state and in my dream state? So he takes the liberty to explain in great detail with Shruti, Yukti and Anubhuti. He takes 3 things. In the first 3 mantras, he explains the first three shlokas of the second section, he explains the illusory nature of the dream state. And then from shloka number 4 up to 18, he makes a leap to the waking state, that because dream state is an illusion, waking is nothing but an extension of dream. And this is how the second section starts. Otherwise someone may ask, why? Vaitatya Prakarana, what is the reason? The reason is he gives elaborate commentary on the 7th mantra from now on in the second chapter called Vaitatya Prakarana. The 3rd chapter is Advaita Prakarana, and he uses that Shantam Shivam Advaitam. So the 3rd chapter he writes on complete, absolute, non-dual, one alone is, truth alone is. Advaitam, he gets that non-dual is Shantam, the non-dual is Shivam, and it is non-dual Advaitam. So that is the 3rd chapter. And then Alat Shanti, the 4th one, is the cessation of the refutation of all different ideas that people have on this oneself, Advaitam. And that is what this particular Karika now flows. We started the first Karika yesterday of the 2nd chapter. Vaitatyam sarva bhavanam swapna ahurmanishinaha antasthanatu bhavanam samvrutatvena hetunam. So in the very first Karika of the 2nd section, the first verse, he declares that it is not me that declares that the dream state is illusion, that over here, Swapna Ahuhu Manishinaha, the wise have declared that the dream state is nothing but Vaitatya, Sarva Bhavanam Swapna. Swapne, in the Swapna Avastha, in that dream state, Sarva Bhavanam, all objects which are appearing are of what nature? They are of the nature of Vaitatya. They are of the nature of absolute illusion. They have seeming existence, illusion meaning, Mithyatva meaning, Vaitatya meaning that which has a seeming reality. It has an appearance. Seeming reality meaning that reality which has a temporary existence. It doesn't have absolute existence. And because it has a temporary existence, there is no absolute presence, it cannot be called real. So he says Vaitatya sarva bhavanam swapna ahuhu manishinaha. And where is this dream state experienced? Antasthanatu bhavanam. And all these objects are not seen without, but the objects are all experienced within. And the experience of the objective reality of the dream state is in the dream avastha, in the dream state where within the space of the mind the objects are experienced, and thus he says antastha, it is within. And this samvrutatvena hetuna, and antastha inside, samvrutatvena, it is enveloped, it is covered with, it is located, and the location is inside, and it is of a constricted space. It is a confined space of the mind where the entire dream is experienced, and this is this is the very first shloka of this. Vitatasya bhava vaitatyam asatyatvam ityarthaha, that there is no truth to it. The dream objects have a seeming reality, and that seeming reality is a temporary reality, and thus it is said that it is asatya, it is not truth. Satya meaning that which is absolutely true, but this is not. Sarvesham bahya adhyatmikanam bhavanam padarthanam swapna upalabhyamananam ahuhu kathayanti manishinaha pramana kushalaha. Who are these wise people? He gives a definition of them, that they are pramana kushalaha, those people who have taken the time to understand the dream state. They heard from their teacher that the dream state is illusion. They experienced the dream state, and they came to a firm conclusion that yes, indeed, I verify it, I approve of it, that this dream state is illusion. And thus it is said, pramanashilaha, those people who are worthy of giving a definition, worthy of giving an opinion, the one whose opinion counts, because these people are evolved people. Mananashila, the mind is highly evolved. They have asked pertinent questions. What is God? Where is God? How is God? When is God realized? How is God realized? What is the body? What is the reality of the body? What is mind? What is the reality of the mind? Can body be God? Can mind be God? What is intellect? What is the reality of the intellect? Can intellect be God? Can the experience of the equipment as the ownership, can that be God? Are the experiences of the object, the emotions, the feelings, the thoughts, are they God? Is the program God? What is the nature of God? These are very, very important questions. It is not just okay to have questions, but some type of answer has to be arrived when somebody says, what is God? Where is God? So these are called mananashilaha. Their equipment mind is extremely alert, attentive, inquisitive, and has reached a conclusion, and thus it is said pramana kushalaha. This mind alone of a muni, of a rishi, which has penetrated and has given firm answer about what is God, and when such a person comes to know, only that person has the authority to say what is not God, because they've known God. Only when I know that this is a phone, I can say what is not phone, then I will say, yeah, this is a book, it is not a phone. But you ask a toddler, what is a phone? Chances are toddler will know a phone. When you say, what is a book? He will look at the book. What is a ceiling fan? He knows what a fan is, but he doesn't know what a ceiling fan is, because he has not seen ceiling fans. So there will be a confusion. The word creates some thought modification, but no meaning to it. In this way, Gaudapadacharya ji says that it is only worth listening to the words of the masters who have precisely come to a proper understanding, and they have declared that the dream state is unreal. When you and I say it is unreal, if we enjoy our dream, oh, that dream was wonderful, and that dream is going to come alive, this, that, we have our own opinion. But over here it is said that they have declared that bahya adhyatmikanam bhavanam padarthanam swapna upalabhyamananam ahuhu kathayanti, that all these things which are seen by whom? Seen by the mind. Seen where? In the dream state. But as though it is said over here, bahya adhyatmikanam, the person who has a dream doesn't confuse themselves for the dream objects. They say, I had a dream. A dream is an experience. The experience is of another objective reality, and those objects are other than the dreamer, and those are all negated, but not the dreamer. The dreamer is the one who validates the dream. Antasthananam antastarirasya madhye sthananam yesham tatra hi bhava upalabhyate. Now it is said that this antasthanat tu bhavanam, where is the dream experience? The dream is experience on the inside. Antasthana, antas sharirasya madhye, in the very middle of the body. The physical body is asleep, the body is lying in the bed, but the subtle body, which is inside the physical body, that body is awake up to an extent, and the awakened subtle body in the dormant physical body, which has just gone to sleep, in here is the presence of the objects. Now it is said, this inside, tatra hi bhava upalabhye parvata hasti adayah na bahihi sharirat. The dream is about parvat, a mountain, hasti, an elephant. And if we think about it, how can a Himalaya fit inside the body? Hasti, elephant. We all know elephant is much bigger than the human body. But the elephant is experienced inside. So, how can a huge mountain, a huge elephant be experienced on inside? It's a doubt which is created. So thus, because of that doubt, it is said samvrutatvena hetuna. The hetu, what is the cause for experiencing a large mountain and a large elephant on the inside. And it is said in the inside, it goes into explanation that in our body there are tiny nadis. When the doctor cuts open, the doctor can see the artery, he can see the vein, and then even in the eye, tiny capillaries are seen and the blood flows through the capillaries. But a nadi, no doctor can see. 72,000 nadis are there in this body. And in the 72,000 nadis is the flow of the mind, the antakarana. And in there is a large mountain. Oh ho ho ho. How is that possible? But yet we dream a large mountain, a massive elephant, in a tiny nadi which I cannot see, even underneath a microscope. So the hetu is samvrutatvena. It is in a very constricted space. In a very, another word over samvrutatvena is not just constricted space, limitation of space, it's a very subtle space. And that is where the dream experience is. And that dream is seen now, the dream which is seen, great rishis, great wise people have declared that it is Vaitatya, it is illusion. Great mountains can exist inside, elephants can exist, all those things, but in reality, it is the constriction of the space. So the first reason why the dream is unreal is yukti. The logic over here is anumana praman. It is an inference. What is the inference? Inference is samvrutatvena hetuna. That in the constricted space, giant things can be projected. And this is each one of us. Through inference we can figure out, no, not possible. It is an illusion. So this is the first hetu which is given, that the location within, that it cannot be real. It is experienced because the objects cognized in the dream state are all perceived within the body. The locus is given within the body. An individual has closed the eyes, the body is suspended, the mind and the intellect are alone projecting, and in that constricted space there is a whole world of objects. That is on the account of being confined in a space over here. Now is a second reason. What is the second reason? That's the second shloka we will read. Adirgatvacha kalasya
Adirgatvacha kalasya
Gatva deshanna pashyati
Gatva deshanna pashyati
Pratibuddhascha vai sarvaha
Pratibuddhascha vai sarvaha
Tasmin deshena vidyate.
Tasmin deshena vidyate.
So first, space was taken. Now time is taken. See, our rishis already knew about the duration of the dream. Now the science has backed it up in the rapid eye movement. The REM sleep is what they call, and in this REM sleep, an average dream is no more than 1.5 minutes. And in that 1.5 minute, we can experience a whole generation has come about. A child is born, a child is raised, a child gets married, the child has a child of its own, and I get old, and then I see the grandkids and the great grandkids and everything. In 1.5 minutes, a whole generation can be seen. So, in the first, there is a constriction of space. Over here, there is a constriction of this time. Time space constriction. It's as though we are reading some physics. So over here, adirghatvacha kalanam. Adirghatva, dirgha is long, adirgha is short. In a very short kalasya, time, gatva, deshan. People go to various places. They go to India, have a whole wedding party and whatnot, and come back in a minute and a half. And if we really think about it, minute and a half, it is impossible to even go from here to the airport, much less go from here all the way to India, halfway around the world, and then come back. So time plays a trick. The trick of the time is very far off places in the waking state, which are impossible to tread. In limited time, we can go and we can come back. So that which is impossible is possible in the dream state. In the first one, there was an inference. This is a pratyaksha praman. This is a direct perception that it is not possible to go to far off places and come back. Not only that, if somebody is dreaming, and if another person comes and wakes them up halfway in the dream, it is not like they wake up halfway between here and India. They wake up right here in Austin. So, Kala Sanyog is with the Desh. It is with the time. The time union is with proper space. And the body which is dreaming is in one space continuum. But the inside dream world is in a different time space continuum. Space was rejected by seeing, by inference. Now time is rejected by direct perception, that if I have a dream, and if I have a dream experience of having a dinner with my friend somewhere out there in a different country, when I am done with the dream, or when I am woken up from the dream, I don't wake up in a different place, I wake up in the same place. So the whole dream is an illusion. It was an illusion projected by the mind. In space Which space? Illusory space. Which illusory space? That inside space, time is also of the illusion over here. Pratibuddhascha vai sarvaha tasmin deshe na vidyate. It is not that the waker wakes up in a different place. Tasmin deshe eva, in the place where he dreams, that place alone he wakes up. He doesn't wake up in the dream place. Thus, second reason that the dream state is an illusion. So this is pratyaksha praman. So the this objection, as though it may be raised by someone, the objector is of the opinion that the dreamer is not seeing the objects of his dream within his bosom, but is actually observing them in the different places. But no, he is not observing that in the distant places, it is right here, because he wakes up over here. And even if he is woken up halfway in the dream is ended right there, and he wakes up right over here, and that is the proof over here that the dream state is illusion. If you read Gurudev's commentary, the same Shankaracharya ji in his Sanskrit Bhashya over here has explained the exact same thing. Now the third point is Shruti. So the second shloka is Anubhuti. It is my experience that I only wake up in the same place. Yukti is the first shloka. The second one is Anubhuti. It is my experience. And the third one is called Shruti. The third one, Shruti Praman. Now scriptures come and declare. See, it has to be rejected by proper understanding. I may reject it. Others may reject it. But what about scriptures? So now scriptures, he is quoting a scripture, and that scripture over here is mentioned the third shloka over here, abhavascharathadinam Shruyate nanyapurvakam Vaitatyam tena vaipraptam Swapna ahur prakashitam. So over here, Abhavascha rathadinam, ratha adinam, ratha chariot. Over there it talks about, all types of things, that the buildings and chariots and horses and elephants and all that we see. In olden days, this is what people used to see in this. Nowadays, you can add Tesla over here, doesn't matter. So over there, chariots and all those things were seen during those days. So it is said that abhavascha rathadina. Shruti also over here, which Shruti? Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. It is said 4.3.10 in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad that Anyapurvakam, with the support of the previous logic of the first shloka and the second shloka, it is also established by scriptures in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad that there is absence of things like abhava, non-existence. Non-existence of what? Chariot, etc. Where? In the dream state. The dream objects were experienced, but the dream objects, when they were experienced, it was only the experience. The actual object did not exist, because upon waking up, if it existed, the chariot from the inside should come out. But it doesn't. The subtle experience of the chariot or that dream place, whichever one is, it is suspended over there when one comes out. So there is actually no actual existence of the dream objects. But I cannot say that they were not, because a non-existent object cannot be experienced. So at one point in time it existed. It existed where? In dream. But then it should be there. But it is not. So the very fact that it was experienced, it was. Because a non-existent thing cannot be experienced. If it is experienced, it has to be there. How can I deny my own experience? So, Shruti says that that chariot which existed in the dream state, there is abhav of it, there is absence of it in the waking state. So really, a chariot didn't exist. Vaitatyam tena vaipraptam. It was praptam, it was attained as an illusion. Vaitatyam. It was an illusion. Swapnaha ahuhu prakashitam. Ahuhu, great people say, swapna prakashitum. You were the one who gave reality to that chariot in that avastha. When we dream our dream objects. We light up the world of dream. And when we wake up, we reject the dream world. And because from the standpoint of coming out of it, they all disappear, there is a complete unreality of the dream state. Dream state is illusion. So, it is established all that is experienced in the dream state, because of the constriction of the space, because of the dilation of time, and because it is the pramana of Shruti. So Shruti Yukti Anubhuti, by one's own direct perception, by one's own inference, and by the declaration of scriptures, it is declared that the entire dream is unreal. Now, because the dream is unreal, he extends this to the waking state. So from shloka number 4 up to 18, he will prove that because dream is unreal, now waking is also unreal. And that's why I said yesterday, we have to really understand this properly. Otherwise, we can lose it. We cannot walk out of this door and say, the world is unreal, I can do anything I want, I can just drive on the wrong side and this and that, I don't need to observe any rules, laws. They will just put us behind bars or an asylum, that's all. This is for our spiritual understanding that the world is unreal. The experience world of the waking reality is unreal. The dream world experience and the dream reality is unreal because it is experience other than me. So the experiencer is someone other than what is experienced. That is to be established. And to establish the identity of the waker and the dreamer to be apart from the waking world and the dream world, these dream world and waking world are negated. Because the one who remains after negating, that cannot be negated. And that is Sa Atma, Sa Vigneyaha. That is the Atma to be known. And what is that Atma? That Atma is Shantam. It is absolute peace. Shivam, it is absolute auspiciousness. And that can be experienced even now in the middle of the waking state, knowing very well that it is only illusion, but I, the self, am experiencing it. And I, the experiencer, is very different from the experienced object. And this has to be established in the upcoming shlokas. That I am very different from I the body, I the mind, I the intellect, I the ego, I the possessor of my car, my house, my mortgage, my children, my this, my that, my this, my that, my emotions, my feelings. I am very different from all this mess over here. I have intermingled my real nature with something which is appearing. And that is what is to be established over here. So this is a tall order he gives. You know, in meditation we listen to this Brahma Jnanavali, which is the assertion of the highest thought. Druk drushyo dvau padarthostaha. There are two things. Druk, the seer, drushya, the seen. Parasparam vilakshanaha. They are of contradictory nature. What is the contradictory nature? One is Chaitanya, one is conscious, and the other one is matter. They are of the two opposing nature, Druk Brahma, and thus the seer is Brahma. Drushyam Mayeti iti Vedantadindimaha. This is what is going to be established now in the upcoming shlokas 4 all the way up to 18. Now this is a big leap going from the dream to the waking. This shloka opens up a can of worms which will one by one, each worm will be tackled by each one of the karikas. It's a brilliant analysis, and this analysis allows us to own up Ahamatma. I am this Atma. Antasthanat tubha bhedanam
Antasthanathu Vedanam
Tasma jagarite smrutam
Tasma Jagarite Smrutam
Yatha tatra tatha swapne
Yata Tatra Tata Swapne
Samvrutatvena vidyate.
Samritatvena Bhidyate.
So now what is this shloka saying? This karika says, I'm starting from the second line. Yatha tatra swapne. Just like there, tatra, there, swapne, in the dream state, location is given. Swapne, vaitatyam, that is to be added. It's not over here, so it's to be added. So just like in the dream, objects are all illusion, tatha, in the same way, jagarite vaitatyam smrutam, in the same way, in the waking state, objects are illusion. This is a thesis statement he is making. Okay, just like in the dream state, we saw all experience was illusion. In the same way, in the waking state, everything is illusion. Really? How? So we have to ask how. Then he says, antasthanatu bhedanam. What is it? The only difference is, in the waking state, the illusion is experienced outside. But in the dream state, antasthana, it is experienced on the inside. The dream is the illusion on the inside, waking is the illusion on the outside. That is bhed, that is a difference. Samvrutatvena vidyate, and also in here it is enveloped within. Samvrutatva, it is confined. Confined in what? The mental space. And on the outside, it is confined in the total space. One is on the inside space, and this one is on the outside space. That is all. The dream over here is on the inside, in the inside space, and the waking state is on the outside, in the outside space. This is the difference. So now, all Shankaracharya ji says is, this is to be proven. This is a thesis statement. So in Shastra, or even in, when we take geometry, that triangle XYZ is isosceles. So prove that triangle ABC is also isosceles. So then we say that the line segment has to be the same. The angle over here has to be the same. And in an isosceles triangle, there are 90 and 60, 60. All those things are there. Equilateral triangle, all the angles are equal, and you have to, in 5 steps, prove that a triangle is an isosceles, a triangle is equilateral, whatever it is. So the steps are given to a child to logically prove. How can you determine whether, if this is isosceles, how can this be isosceles? So the same thing over here, that if dream is illusion, how can you say waking is illusion? So the steps are there, and the steps are what Gurudev has written over here. So there is a pratignya. Pratignya is what is to be proved. Shankaracharya ji over here fourth. Jagrat drushyanam bhavanam vaitatyam iti pratignya. So what is to be proved? Jagrat drushya padarthanam. All objects seen in the waking state, vaitatyam iti, they are illusion. Iti pratignya, this is to be proved. And then drushyatvat iti hetu. What is over here? Then the next one is hetu. Why? Because they are seen. Then you have to give a reason. You just cannot say because they are seen. What is the drushtant over here? How are you comparing this to? What is the example you are giving? So the drushtant over here is brought. The illustration is, drushtant is because objects are seen in the dream state. And whatever is seen in the dream state, that is also illusion. And the same objects are seen in the waking state, so they are also illusion. So then it is said over here that what is the Upanaya? How do you correlate that? So what is the relationship established over here? So Upanayana, Nayana is to see, Upa is close examination. What is the close examination about it? How can you just declare that because the dream is illusion, how can you say the waking is illusion just because you've seen the objects? So on the close examination, it is said that these two states mutually contradict each other. The waking objects, they do not carry themselves into the dream, and the dream objects cannot carry themselves into the waking. So they are confined in their own place, and the very fact that they are confined, just like the dream is confined, but the one who sees is different. He is not confined. And the one who wakes up, the same dreamer wakes up, he is not confined by the space. And that is the Upanishad. That big logic he will prove very beautifully. And then Nigama, it is reiterated. Reiterated by whom? It cannot be by us. It is reiterated by Shruti and by great Mahatmas. In this way it is there. So now, why is the waking state unreal? First will be taken. We will see this tomorrow. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.